This is the center fence line down this 40 acres, and it kind of divides our main three pastures. And what I do is this fence stays hot all the time, and it's powered. I like to keep the fence charger covered, so I think they'll last longer that way. So it's powered over there at the well house. It brings the power over here and it grounded in a direct bury wire. And when I tie off to this fence, now my portable reel, I can hook on here and drag it to the far fence line, but I'm already hot, immediately. So I feel like that works better to set my paddocks. It's almost like strip grazing, but I keep them from back grazing. So I know some people will tell you to put a perimeter all the way around the property. I haven't seen a need for that because I have this center line. If I didn't have the center line, maybe I'd do it differently. But and I run it right along with my water. I have a buried water line that runs up and down this fence line also, and it allows me, well, it's got those risers and the Filmac quick release plugins. The challenge for me was always, how do I get the right fencing infrastructure in place, and how do I get the water where I need it? Because a stock tank like we have over there is great in a continuous grazing system because the animals can go to and from the water. Well, if I'm gonna set them up in a system where they're moving really frequently, well, the water's got to move with them frequently, or you got to have lots and lots of water points. So my solution on this small size land was all the animals can drink out of a much smaller trough as long as I have good water flow to it. 35 gallons of water in this trough at any one time. I have enough water flow that it just stays full even with 20 head out here. And I run a similar setup with about 100-gallon tank at my lease place. I just have to move it less often. But with this lead rope tied on here and using a little bit of leverage, you step close to it and you can use your legs to turn it over, and you're not losing 100 gallons of water, you're losing 30 gallons of water. And I don't lose it because it's South Texas and I got organic material in the ground and I'm growing grass. And I just move it down to the next location. And people tell me that's too much work and it takes too much time, but it's better than a gym membership. Doesn't wear me out that bad. I'm sacrificing just a little bit of performance to improve what was just really flogged out land, and it's getting better year over year. I think 5 years from now this place will look completely different, and it's very encouraging. I got something great to look across the fence line. You can see my neighbor has, I think, 8 or more pivots. I found out the other day, I was doing a little research, they can put down 600 to 900 gallons a minute, which equates to like an inch of water on a quarter acre in an hour. And I looked out here the other day, he had 3 of them running at once. And I was like, man, that's an awful lot of water he just put out. That small guy, can't quite afford that. So he can cheat with a lot of water. I can cheat by managing differently. And it is what it is, right? We have to work within the context we got. I run a smaller herd and try and improve the land. But my goal is that somebody looks out this place one day and they can't tell the difference green-wise between where we're standing and where his place is without me putting any water out. We'll see if I can get there. But I know mine will look a lot different. It'll be native grasses and bunch grasses and forbs and legumes and all that. And he's gonna have a monoculture, coastal. He's 6 years old and he has been setting fence and moving cows with me since he was 3. And I got out of the Army when he was 4 years old. and I had to go for final out processing for 2 weeks out of town. And we already had cows and we were moving things and I was like, what am I gonna do? Who's gonna manage all this? And so what I did is I had extra reels. I set 3 or 4 extra paddocks, and I tried to explain to my wife what needed to happen. Her eyes glazed over. And I was like, okay, how am I gonna do this? And he wasn't in school yet. And I said, ding. Okay, babe, here's what you're gonna do. Liam is the ranch manager. You're gonna listen to Liam. He's 4, but he knows what to do. And because he'd been running with me all summer long, he had it. He could tell her exactly what. He couldn't quite stick a post in the ground yet. Well, he could when it wasn't this time of year. But it's not rocket science. A 4-year-old can do it if you just spend the time, teach, coach, mentor, train them up. Anyway, awesome. So I nerd out about that stuff, sorry. Last really 18 to 24 months has been extremely dry. I've had to learn to move the cows faster. I've had to learn to find alternative places to graze. My lease place came about kind of partially as a result of seeing that we were coming into a drought, and a very fortuitous relationship with a guy who he actually asked me 3 times to come lease his place before I did it, and I finally just said, okay, let's talk about what that would look like. And he wanted me out there to improve the land so bad. My lease is remarkable. I'm really blessed to have that relationship. So, yeah, you had to learn to do some things differently. You had to really consider whether it was time to destock. And I waited too long for a lot of those things. And I bought a lot of hay last year, mostly because we were in the non-growing season. Down here is really kind of only December to February. We got cool season grasses growing pretty much the rest of the year, or maybe January to March, something like that. But I was in that non-growing season and no rain. And I finally said, well, I better get a little hay just for insurance. I was talking earlier about these insulators. That's a classic example of why I'm not a fan of those long term. They work when they work, and then you come out here and they don't. What do y'all say we move some cows? Busy talking about other things. I try to move, when I move paddocks, I try to move from my right going to my left, so that when I open that fence up, they're coming to me from my right to my left. That gives me a great opportunity to look at their left side and check to see if their rumen's full. Are they getting enough to eat? I have to watch that probably a little more carefully than others because I am real small property, not a lot of grass this time of year. And if I see they look sunk in on that rumen, well, maybe I need to move them faster, or I need to find a paddock with more grass or whatever. But that's your daily check, right? I mean, I know of other ranchers in the area that they run a few head, continuous graze, and they show up on Saturday morning and beep the horn and throw some cubes out. Because they got a town job, I get it, right? Everybody's got their own context they're working from. But if you only see your cows once a week, a cow can lose body condition real fast. And it's hard to know how they look if you don't see them often. Largest number of suicides is our military and farmers. That's terrible. I think largely from farmers, it's the crushing debt and the fact that the tasks never end. And we're not real good at finding help, right? We're not good at hiring people, and we just, I'll get out there and do it myself, because nobody can do it as good as me. I have plenty of that in me. But the thing that can keep that from happening is knowing other farmers to talk to, and looking out for one another. In the military, we said looking out for your battle buddy, right? It's the same thing in farming. Like, you gotta talk to another farmer who's doing it your way. When they're going through the struggles and they look out at their land and they go, man, it's really dry and I don't know how I'm gonna make it through the season. And you're just out of ideas, and you're stressed, and you're tired, and you're hot, and you're sweaty, and you're getting short with people. You have to have another farmer or rancher who understands the struggle, that you can pick up the phone and talk to and say, hey man, I'm having a hard day. Because if you don't do that, you can get in a bad place. This is healing. You come out here and mess with the cows every day and move them, get time outdoors, get good vitamin D, time in nature. It heals a lot of stuff, to include post-traumatic stress. And it keeps you physically fit. In the Boy Scouts, well, in the military, right? If you can't tie a knot, tie a lot. Well, being in the climbing program is a good thing, because when I tie that Super 9 wire up onto the end of the handle to hook it on, I always tie a figure 8 on a bite, because the figure 8 you can get untied again, because you're going to stretch that wire tight. If you just do an overhand knot, good luck. You're going to stand out there in the heat, in the field, saying not nice words for 30 minutes while you struggle to get that thing untied. So learn how to tie a good knot so that you can get it undone even though you pulled that joker tight. Because a tight fence holds animals. You get a little bow in that fence, those cows will stop respecting it.